When working with short bitten nails, the biggest reward for any nail technician is when the client comes back and the nails are still there. They're not broken, lifted, or bitten. This is exactly what happened this time. Anna came back after 3.5 weeks and only one nail is missing. So we're going to do fill and do a new shape for her. This is the acrylic set I did for Anna 3 weeks ago. Short square-shaped nails with glitter on top. And now they look like this. Not bad, and I'm really happy that most of her wounds healed and only one nail is lost, which in our case is a big success. So let's start with filing off glossy top coat and glitter gel polish. Hello guys, this is Anastasia, international nail expert and educator. The biggest issue with the clients who are biting their nails is that whenever they have something that is not smooth, whether it's a hangnail, a little piece of product lifting, or something they can't pick or bite or pull, they are going to do it, and this is how the manicure, the skin, or extensions get worse. That's why it's so important to do fills on time. When I started working with Anna's nails a few years ago, my biggest recommendation was to do infills every 2.5 weeks, which seems like a bit often, but it is better to do it like that, where there's no product lifting, no hangnails, nothing. And then if it's good, we can do them like every 3 weeks. So this time we did it after 3 weeks, and on first nail we didn't have any lifting, and on this one you see this little white bubble in the right corner. This is the product lifting that we need to file off. And if she spent, let's say, another week without fill, this part will definitely get worse because she might start picking or biting it. And the best way to avoid it is simply to do fills a bit more often than usual, and over time you can switch to regular pace, which is 3 to even 4 weeks. When doing fill, there's no need to file off the entire product from the nail. We only need to remove the color, the top coat, and if we have some product lifting, we need to remove it as well. Like on this nail, you see on the left side there is some whitish part. This is product lifting too. We need to file it off, as well as surrounding area of the product lifting. If you still can see these whitish lines on the product, most likely there is still product lifting. So make sure that you remove it all, because if you will leave a little part of the lifted product and then seal it with a new product, we are going to trap the lifting, which eventually will grow and turn into bigger lifting. Another standard advice for short and bitten nails is definitely short length, because I will never recommend long nails for anyone who has short nail beds or who is biting their nails. So I think this is like the longest nails that we can do. During almost 4 years now that I'm working with Anna, we tried almost every product and technique out there. We tried acrylic, gel, polygel, soft gel, we tried tips, we tried regular forms, we tried dual forms, and even few overlays, because there was the time when her natural nails grew a little longer and we can do simple overlay. And my conclusion is that the best product for short bitten nails is acrylic, and on the second place I would say polygel, but this is mostly for extensions. When doing fills, you can use any product that is to your liking. And the product that worked the worst was soft gel tips, even though I love this method and use it a lot with my clients. With Anna, it didn't work very well, so we decided to stick to sculptured nails, mostly with acrylic. Now that's interesting. Leftovers of this product are clean, which means I don't see product lifting near the cuticle, so supposedly there was whether a crack on this nail or there was a little lifting along the sidewall. Next step, I'm going to use carbide bead and file off the product underneath. I want to remove this little ridge between the product and the natural nail, so it will be totally smooth, and again there will be nothing to pick. And also I'm going to file off the little outgrown natural nail. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to exclude any possibility of product lifting under the nail. When doing these extensions, we used no forms method, which means I didn't use any tips or forms. And when you do this and we have super short nail beds, you will have this little ridge under the nail, which is almost inevitable because we cannot reach that far where the nail is. Then I'm going to reshape the nails. Here's the thing. Square shape is Anna's favorite shape, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks great on her. But also, let's face it, it's not the most practical shape. Also, she works in a restaurant as a chef, and considering our history and her nail biting habit, I figured that actually oval shape works the best for her. So we decided to reshape them and simply switch to oval shape. This is super easy. You can do it while doing fill. All you need to do is to file off the corners, and this is how we can easily switch to oval. Square shape can be done with any length, even for super short nails. But for oval, we need a little bit of length. So now when they're slightly longer, we can easily do this. When doing oval shape on short nails, do not try to make it too skinny or too pointy. Actually, it's going to be more like a square. It still should have sidewalls, and then we simply round the corners a bit more than usual, and this is how we get beautiful, natural looking oval nails. If you spend quite a while filing the right side of the nail to make it rounded, then you need to spend about the same time on the opposite side. So make sure they're identical and symmetrical. Then we proceed to dry manicure and nail prep. I will push back the cuticles with pusher. I really enjoy this one because it has the similar shape as the orange with stick, but it's metallic, so it works just great with this kind of skin and nails because it pushes them back without hurting the client. When I push back the cuticles like this, I make it easier for me to proceed with dry manicure and electric nail file because the next goal is to clean all the dry skin from the nail plate. So I will be using flame-shaped diamond bead red abrasive mark. The speed is about 18,000 rotations per minute. It's been only 3 weeks and her nails didn't grow that much. I mean, you can see this growth line, but there's definitely a lot to work on the cuticles and skin. And this is another reason why I recommend anyone who still has a biting habit to do fills at least every 2 to 3 weeks. Compared to our last service, her skin is in much better condition now because she doesn't have these wounds and hangnails with blood. And that's because before that we had a long gap between the services. And this is what happens when someone is biting or picking their skin. But once we take care of it, always do dry manicure, always clean everything, then things like hangnails will simply not appear and the skin will stay healthy and smooth. Dry manicure, which is part of the nail prep, is a very important part of this service. So you always need to take time to do it. And it doesn't matter whether it's fill or new extensions, we still need to prep our nails. Since we're working together for so long now, I have plenty of long and short form videos with Anna's nails. And especially on short videos, I have so many comments where people say, "Oh my god, it looks so painful, she's probably screaming in pain." Well, first of all, if she's a returning customer for so long, this will be unlikely. If she's always in pain, then why does she keep coming back? Dry manicure or nail prep or nail extensions is not a painful service and it should not hurt at all. If it does, then there is something wrong. And there are very rare exceptions. Let's say if you have a burn on your finger or if you have a wound, then it may hurt a little when the nail technician is holding this particular finger, but it has nothing to do with the service itself, right? Some people may have thin nails or sensitive skin, so in this case it may feel a little sensitive at some points, but not painful. Some people have very dry skin and deep side grooves, and those who are biting or picking their skin,
there's always more dry and dead tissue to clean, because this is what our bodies are doing, trying to protect the skin. That's why it may look that I'm going sometimes maybe too deep with this drill bit under her cuticle, right? And I assume this is the part that scares most people. If you take a closer look, you will notice that I'm never going deeper than the dry dead tissue on her eponychium and side walls. By the way, I already switched to the opposite side, so now I'm working on a reverse mode. The speed remains the same, about 18,000 rotations per minute. After cleaning the opposite side wall on all nails, I also push back the cuticle even more, so it will be easier to trim it. And you can do it with electric nail file or with any implement, and today I will be using manicure scissors. I just love this moment when we see clean nails ready to product application, and as you can see, we lost another nail when Anna went to the bathroom, which is okay. So let's apply dehydrator and non-acid primer. With non-acid primer, you don't need to wait. You can simply apply it on the nails and proceed right to the product application. And I will be using nude acrylic. We need to fill this area near the cuticle and rebuild the apex. But since her nails are so short, the apex should be almost seamless. After applying the bead near the cuticle, I clean the brush with the tissue, and then I make sure that it's super thin and super smooth along the sidewalls and near the cuticle area. And then we will need another tiny bead right here to rebuild the apex. And I will also blend it towards the free edge, towards the cuticle, and towards the sidewalls. When we have short nail beds, it is better to place the apex not right in the center of the nail, but a little closer to the cuticle to have a proper balance. Acrylic was the first product I learned how to work with, because back then everyone was doing only acrylic nails, and I enjoy working with it until this day, because this is the product where you feel more like you're in control, like you're controlling the whole application. On this nail, we had lifting on the left side, and now we also have a gap between the nail and the product, so we need to fill it in first. And when doing this, it is better to take the bead of the consistency that's closer to dry, to make sure that you can build this bridge. So whenever you have the product missing on the sidewalls, on the free edge, or you have some gaps you would like to fill, it is better to do it first, and then you can take another bead and add to the cuticle area. Recently, I got a lot of feedback from you guys that longer videos are better, so now I'm showing you the product application in real time, so you will have an idea. It's not like magic. It's not like you take the bead, apply it, like in short 10 seconds videos, and boom, now we have this final flawless look. No, in real life, it definitely takes a while, and for me, the longest part of the service is usually the product application. With Anna, it's a bit different though, because nail prep also takes quite a while because we need to clean everything. But with the majority of clients, product application is always the longest and the biggest part, because I always pay attention to apply the product everywhere I need. I try to smooth it out the best I can, so the filing and shaping part will take about 10 minutes. This nail is broken, so I'm going to use the same technique as we did when we did first extensions, which is a no forms method. You simply need to take a bead of the consistency that's closer to dry, place it on the nail. This is important. We do not place it on the skin, and then we blend it like this so we can build the free edge of the nail. Do not press on the acrylic too much, especially on the free edge, because this is how we're risking getting too much product under the nail instead of top of the nail. So you need to work with the brush like you're working with a feather, a very light touch. Do not forget to compare it with another nail. So I already did with another hand and realized that this nail is actually shorter. So once I finish building the free edge, I take another bead right on top of it. And again, the consistency, it's not really dry, but it's more dry compared to the bead I normally use. I blend it and push it towards the free edge at the same time, so it will create a longer nail and the oval shape. When doing a no forms method of application, do not forget to take care of the other side of the nail before acrylic is set. You want to smooth it out too to make sure there's no mess under the nail. And looks like we have an identical shape and length right now. So I will smooth out the free edge, make sure that I don't have any excess product. If you accidentally flooded the sidewall, then you can quickly clean it right away before acrylic is cured. Finally, we take another bead and place it near the cuticle so we can build the cuticle area, the sidewalls, as well as the apex. When you apply acrylic bead on the nail, at first it's shiny, and as you apply it, it's slowly turning into matte. So I always work with the product until it's fully matte, until it's fully set, so I don't have any chance to fix it somehow. And finally, I will slightly pinch this nail, and this is what we have after product application. As you can see, we don't really need to file or shape them too much. I mostly need to file the sidewalls and the shape of the nails, also make sure that it's on point and identical, and I'm using 180 grit file. When doing acrylic nails, if you plan to apply color gel or gel top coat on top, even if you did perfect flawless application, you still need to buff the surface. So you can do this with a file, you can do it with a buffer, but you cannot just leave it the way it is. Filing and shaping the nails is just like doing a slight retouch and adjustments. It's not like we have a piece of product and then we carve something out of it with a file. No, you need to do all the shaping and building the structure of the nail with a brush. And finally, we're going to seal them with the top coat. I have a builder top coat, which means you can also add a little more of it to build the perfect surface on the top, and it has a slight shimmer in it. Anna enjoys different kinds of nail art and bright colors, but since she has a higher position now in her work, there is a dress code and they're only allowed to have nude nails. So the only little nail art and fun that we can have is adding this shimmer to the top coat. So if you want to add a little volume with the top coat, first you need to apply a thin coat, and without curing it, take a little more, and with a printing technique, I'm building this perfect structure of the nail on the top. It will also make the shimmer more visible, but when you're applying a top coat like this, you need to cure one by one, which means you apply it on the nail and you need to cure it right away. Because if you will do this kind of application and then you proceed with the next nail without curing the previous one, then you're risking flooding the sidewalls, because even though this is a builder top coat, it's not that thick, so it's not going to hold it in the exact same position. Honestly, when I'm applying a top coat in a regular way, just a thin coat, I do the same. So I apply it on one nail, and while the client is curing it, I apply it on the nail of the opposite hand. And finally, we wash and clean the nails to get rid of the dust and debris leftovers, and this is the final look. It looks so good and so natural on her.
Which shape do you think suits her the most? Square or oval shape? Let me know in the comments.